Okay. Next one is going to be cosine of angle B is equal to, let's see, now you should be getting pretty good at this. It's angle B. So what do I know? What's going to be at the end here? It's going to be minus B squared, right? So I'm left with A and C, correct? So A squared plus C squared minus B squared. What's going to be at the bottom? 2 times, yeah, times C. There we go. And last but not least, if it's angle C that I want, it's going to be side C subtracting at the end. So notice that it doesn't show up again. So if you do angle A, side A only shows up once. Angle B, side B only shows up once. Side C will show up at the end. So that means that it's A squared plus B squared minus C squared. And then it's 2 times A times B. And there's your formula. I'll just give you a note here. If not specified, start by finding the largest angle. Right? If the question doesn't specify, hey, solve for this angle, then what you will do is find the largest one and start there. Where is the largest angle going to be located? Across from which side? Largest angle will be across the longest side, right? I talked about that. So if you look at all 3 sides, it's like 3 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 8 centimeters, then across the 8 centimeters is the one that's going to be the largest angle. So that's the one you're going to start with. Okay, let's do a question already. Enough of formulas, right? Study sheet. The yellow has this too, but there are no colors there. So I would suggest you have the color coded formula on there. I enjoy having you in class so much more. I can tell that you're done with the notes. Now we can do the yeah, go ahead. Okay. All right, let's put this to the test. Calculate the length of side A. So they want this one. Okay. Do you have a pair here? Let's say we go back to sine law. Do you have a pair? A side angle? You don't. There's no way you can get it. So, but this is a side angle side, right? It's cosine law, yeah. Not yet. Did you try this already? Okay, let's do a couple of examples, okay? We all agree it's side angle side though, right? Okay. So we're gonna have to use that formula, that one of those that I gave you, but just look at the pattern. If this is what you want, you start with it. A squared is going to be equal to these 2 sides squared and added. Order doesn't matter when you're adding. Minus 2 times B times C times cosine of angle A, right? This side is going to be across that angle. Got that part? So let's plug in the values. A squared is equal to B squared, which is 7.9 squared, plus C squared, which is 5.2 squared, minus 2 times B, which I have written down already. I like to use brackets when I do these guys here. Times 5.2 times cosine of angle A, which is 43 degrees. And here's where having a good calculator will pay off. But I will assume you have a non-two-liner, right? So we'll do this part first, and then later I'll show you the shortcut. So 7.9, I have an x squared button on my calculator. You may not have that, so you need to use this hat. Watch the hat here. If you go hat squared, it does the same thing. I'm going to just use my x2 button, okay? So 7.9 squared plus 5.2 squared. That's 8945. I write the whole thing down. Minus, I will figure out what this whole thing is. So I know we're going to have calculator issues here, but we'll hope for the best. 2 times 7.9 times 5.2 times cosine of 43. You do it all in one shot. And then you write down all the decimals, or at least 4. I'll say this. Use at least 4 decimals. Okay? Right now, just write this down. We'll figure it out later if there are any kinks we need to fix. Okay? So a squared is going to be these two subtracted. So let's go ahead and do that. 89.45 minus 60.0880, 29.362. We're not done yet. This should remind you of Pythagorean theorem. What happens with that a squared? What do we need to do? Square root, that's right. So a is going to be square root of, trust me, later on we'll do this in 3 lines. But now we have to go step by step. So I'm going to square root my answer, and I get 5.42. Always 2 decimals. And we are in centimeters. That's it. Question. Do we have a pair now? We have a pair now. We could switch over to sine law if we wanted to solve more. We're not going to go there today. We're just going to focus on cosine law. Okay? Let's go over to that next example here. I think it's important to write it down for now, even though you're still having some issues, just write it down. Okay? Different letters now. They're asking me to solve for side R. So let's write out the formula. If I want R squared, oh, hold on, back up. Is this SAS? I have a side, I have the angle in between and another side. So yes, this is SAS. You have to use cosine law. Okay, there's no way around it. Okay, and because it's SAS, it's going to be one of these formulas. Watch, I'm just going to make them appear here. It's going to be one of these because I gave you the SAS here, right? You just have to pick which one. In this case, it's R that you're missing. So R squared is going to be, let's label this. If this is capital Q, this is lowercase q. This is capital P, this is lowercase p. do that quickly. So it's basically the other two sides squared and added minus 2 times q times p times cosine of what? Mr. Dirks, my formula only has A, B, and C. I can't do this. But what did I make you do? I made you use red, right? So what's across R? Capital R. Okay, so I will highlight that. Okay. These are, I will say this, other two sides, right? So the R is here and it doesn't show up again. Okay, let's plug in. R squared is equal to, Q is 4.3, you square that. P is 6.5, we square that. Minus 2 times 4.3 times 6.5 times cosine of 61 degrees. And here it's going to pay off to have a good calculator. Watch this. 4.3 squared plus 6.5 squared minus 2 times 4.3 times 6.5 times cosine of 61. You should get that. And better yet, I'm using all decimals. So I will just go square root of the answer, and it's 5.80, and we are in kilometers here. So after a while, we're going to omit this step, and it's just going to be 1, 2, 3 lines, and then you're done. Okay? Before we go, back side of this, try one question before you go today. I will give you the answer so that you know you're on the right track. Write this down. .55 centimeters.